Iowa. But first, some major news was made on the campaign trail today in New Hampshire when the 2008 Republican presidential nominee announced his endorsement of Mitt Romney. Take a look.
It's with some nostalgia that I return to this place that I loved so well, but I'm really here for one reason and one reason only, and that is to make sure that we make Mitt Romney the next president of the United States of America, and New Hampshire is a state that will catapult him on to victory in a very short period of time. That's why I'm here.
And joining me now together exclusively for the first time since today's big announcement are Massachusetts Governor, former Governor Romney, and Arizona Senator John McCain. Guys, welcome back.
Thanks.
Thanks, Sean.
All right, Senator, this is a very key moment, key state for you. By the way, I did go back and look at some of the ads you guys had running against each other. You guys were going at it pretty heatedly last time around. Why Mitt Romney? Why did you decide to jump in and support him at a very important time in a state that you was very critical to you back in 2008?
Well, Sean, to start with, we had a very spirited campaign in 2008, but I believe it was always respectful. I believe it was very respectful, and following that, nobody worked harder for my campaign than Mitt Romney. We became family friends. We spent time together. We campaigned together, and I grew to respect what he stands for, what he believes in, his experience, and the fact that I believe that he is the one who can defeat Barack Obama and be President of the United States. And it's a very critical time in our history.
How important do you view this endorsement, Governor?
Well, obviously, having the support of Senator McCain means a great deal to me nationally, but particularly here in New Hampshire, where Senator McCain is beloved by so many people. We're in Peterborough this evening, where we've just had a town meeting. This was the very place that Senator McCain announced his candidacy in the past. So old roots, old connections, and the association with someone who is a unquestioned hero and patriot is something which I value personally, and of course I think it's a good statement politically that we're coming together as a party to get behind folks who we believe in.
Well, there is a bit of an irony here. Back in 2008, Senator McCain, you were viewed as less conservative than Mitt Romney, and you struggled a little bit with conservative voters, especially during the primaries. And Governor, you were viewed as the more conservative candidate. In this race, it seems like in many ways you've taken the senator's position here, and that you're still struggling a little bit with some of the conservative voters in the voting base. Senator McCain, is there any advice you would give Governor Romney?
No, Sean, but I would point out that if we were on this show 2 weeks ago, the prediction that Mitt Romney would carry a very conservative voting state, and that's the Iowa caucuses, wasn't going to happen. I think there's very little doubt that he's picking up traction amongst all sectors of the Republican Party, just as I was able to do in the primary. And I'm confident that a big win here will translate itself into South Carolina and Florida. And I think this thing could be over a lot sooner than a lot of people think. I think he's broadened his base of appeal rather dramatically.
Yeah. Well, Governor, I'll give you a chance to respond to that. As you look at the exit polls and you look at, for example, on electability, your numbers are really high. On who they view as more conservative, there seems to be, with the recent surge, Rick Santorum only 8 votes behind you in the caucuses, the feeling is that conservatives are still not convinced that you would govern as a strong, solid conservative. And I want to give you an opportunity tonight to appeal to them and reach out to them and tell them on important issues where you will be conservative.
You know, I think the people of the country have come to know me better and better. The nice thing about New Hampshire is they saw me act as governor here for 4 years and understand that I was a conservative governor that helped get our state back on track in many ways. We balanced the budget every year I was in office. We cut taxes 19 times. I put in place a $2 billion rainy day fund. I had our state police enforce our immigration laws. We also were able to install English immersion in our schools, and our schools are #1 in the nation. A lot of principles are very conservative principles, and if I don't line up 100% behind someone's view, why, they can look somewhere else. But I think in the final analysis that they'll conclude I'm a pretty darn conservative Republican, that I believe in the principles that made America the nation we are. I want to restore to America the kind of freedom and opportunity that drove America to be the leader of the world. And that's what I'm in this race for, to help middle-income Americans and to keep this country strong.
Let me ask you this question. There's one thing. I interviewed your opponent, one of your opponents, Newt Gingrich, on radio today, and Newt's argument is he's frustrated. He felt like the super PAC ads against him, not that they were negative, he felt that some of the comments specifically about him were dishonest, and he made the claim. You were met today when you arrived in New Hampshire with Newt Gingrich's ad in the Union Leader. He uses terms like you are a Massachusetts moderate, that you manage the decay in Massachusetts, that you've changed your position on abortion, on gun control, and on a series of other issues, funded abortions, for example, in Romney Care. Do you think, and do you anticipate, when these debates come Saturday night and Sunday morning, that this is probably going to be as spirited, I'll use Senator McCain's words, a debate and moment as we've had in the campaign?
Oh, I don't know if it'll be more spirited than in the past, but of course campaigns are an opportunity to get to know the candidate, and other people are going to take their best shots, and then you have to either respond to them appropriately or be sunk by them. And I'm a big guy, got broad shoulders. I'm happy to accept the fact that if I'm in a race like this, I'm going to face people who have differing views, and if they say something that's not accurate, I'll do my very best to correct it. Some of the things that the speaker's saying aren't quite accurate, but I'll get a chance to correct that down the road. But right now, what I want people to know is that this president that we have is taking the country in the wrong direction, that I understand what it'll take to get our government pared back to size and to get our economy going again. And those are the things people want to hear about, and that's one of the reasons I'm going around the state of New Hampshire today and tomorrow, also in South Carolina, making sure people understand why it is we need to have someone of my background helping lead this country. All
right, let me play a little bit of what Newt said on my radio show today. And Senator McCain, I might put you in the position now of being official advisor to Governor Romney, who you've endorsed. And here's what Newt Gingrich said earlier today.
He's somebody who's not candid. He's not candid about his record. He's not candid about his PAC. His PAC runs ads that are false. They spend millions of dollars, and I suspect they'll pivot now and go after Santorum because the only technique they have is to try to shrink the other candidates. After 5 years of campaigning, they can't move Romney above 25%. He got basically exactly the same vote in 2012 that he got in 2008. And so millions of dollars of campaigning later, he is trapped with three-fourths of the Republican Party rejecting him because he is a Massachusetts moderate. And in the end, people don't want a Massachusetts moderate to lead the Republican Party.
All right, Senator McCain, you were pretty hard on Governor Romney back in 2008. Now Newt Gingrich is pretty ticked off. You can hear it in his voice. How would you advise him to respond, considering you had a kind of similar ad yourself when you had the tale of two Mitts?
Well, again, to start with, the campaigns are tough, and it's pretty obvious from the tone of his voice that Newt Gingrich is very unhappy. He was sitting very well for a period of time. We kind of had a succession of people who have gone up and then gone down, while Mitt has been putting one foot ahead of the other and maintaining a steady strain and has been going up. He is going to do well here in New Hampshire, and I'm confident he will do well in South Carolina and in Florida. And again, to say that the Iowa caucuses were something that was expected, it was not. I mean, it shows that the campaign has been gaining traction. And I say to my friend Newt, look, politics isn't beanbag. It's a tough business, and I respect Newt's record. I don't agree with a lot of the things that he did, but at the same time, I understand why he might be a little upset, and he sounds very upset. But that isn't the way you win elections. The way you win elections is come forward with your own positive agenda, which is exactly what Mitt has been doing all along.
We're going to take a quick